In our ongoing series on ecology, till now we had discussed lithosphere and atmosphere, and today we will be going to discuss hydrosphere, a third environmental physical factor of biosphere. Hello everyone, I am Dr. Deepika Jolania Tomar, welcomes you at Zoolophyte. Now let's start the topic. Hydrosphere. It basically consists of water bodies like ocean, seas, polar ice caps, rivers, lakes, etc. And the main component of hydrosphere is water, as we all know, and water exists in three forms in the hydrosphere, which is solid, snow and ice, liquid in the form of water, and gas in the form of water vapors. 3/4 surface of the earth, which is approx 75%, is covered with hydrosphere only, and the life on earth is originated in the sea. Water is a main medium of pedogenesis, which is soil formation, and it is also a medium of several ecosystems. Basically, water forms two varied types of habitat on the basis of its type, which is marine habitat and freshwater habitat. And this marine habitat provide 300 times the living space to the organisms. Also, the water is heavier than air, so it provides a great buoyancy to an aquatic medium, so that organism living in aquatic habitat can easily float on a various level in water bodies. Now let's discuss the various physical properties of water which make it a varied habitat for variety of living organisms. Now let's talk about the physical properties of water, due to which water act as an habitat for wide range of organisms. Here first is water forms. As we discussed before, water exists in three forms, which is solid, liquid or gas, and also water covers 75% of earth, and along with this water is also present in atmosphere as vapors and also present in polar regions as ice caps. Along with this, 60% of water is present in protoplasm, and this property of water makes it important for a habitat of an organism. After this, the next remarkable property of water is its unique thermal property, in which we discuss about heat capacity, latent heat of melting and latent heat of evaporation, and next is freezing or expansion. Here in heat capacity, water has high heat capacity, that is, it can withhold a large amount of heat within itself, and due to this high heat capacity of water, oceans and lake maintains a constant temperature. Also, due to this biosphere, the temperature of biosphere remains relatively constant. Now freezing or expansion, we will discuss it afterwards. In freezing and expansion, when water is cooled at room temperature, it becomes dense. At room temperature, when it is cooled, it becomes dense till it achieve a density of 3.99 degrees Celsius, and when the water is further cooled after achieving this density, it expands at 0 degree freezing point, and due to this, ice always float on water bodies, which is very important for an aquatic life living in large water bodies like oceans and lakes. Now let's discuss about the latent heat. In latent heat, we discuss basically two terms, which is latent heat of melting and latent heat of evaporation. Latent heat of melting can be described as the calorie required to convert 1 gram of solid into 1 gram of a liquid, and for water its value is 90, whereas Latent heat of evaporation is calories required to convert 1 gram of liquid into 1 gram of a vapor, and for water it is 536. And this property of water moderate the temperature of biosphere, and it also helps in water cycle, where the two processes are evaporation and then precipitation of water in the form of rain. Next property of water is it's a universal solvent. Almost all the chemicals are dissolved in water, and due to this property of water, chemicals rotate in abiotic and biotic component of water, like the nutrient present in a soil move to roots in an aqueous medium only, and also when an organism breathes oxygen, the oxygen get dissolved in water in the surface of lungs, and then it will be absorbed by blood. That's why it's one of the important physical factor of in water which supports life. Next is water has greatest surface tension except mercury. Among all the common liquid, water has greatest surface tension except mercury, and due to this property of in water, all the suspended particles in water like pollen grain, dust, sliders remain on the surface of water even if they are denser than water. And this property of water also allows soil to have sufficient amount of water by the action of capillary movement, which are available for terrestrial plants. Next is viscosity. Water is fairly viscous, due to which it imparts a greatest resistance to aquatic animals while moving. That's why aquatic animals need to have a streamlined body so that they can easily float or they can easily swim in water bodies. And due to the high viscosity of water, organism can easily swim in water by using a simple movements, and also this high viscosity of water also prevent mechanical disturbances in animals during swimming. And along with this, water is a buoyant medium, and this buoyancy of water helps organism to swim without any specialized organ. Swim without any specialized organ. Next property of water is its transparency. This helps light to penetrate in a water body. Different wavelengths of solar energy penetrate at different levels in water bodies, like the rays of higher wavelength stopped at the surface only, whereas the waves having the shorter wavelength penetrate deep in water bodies. UV rays penetrate up to 100 meters in water body, and the zone up to which light penetrate in dense water body is called as photic zone. Photic zone, it is a zone till which the light or sun rays penetrate in water body, and below there is a complete dark zone where the animals which need light to survive cannot live. Also, the suspended particle affects the transparency of water, like presence of phytoplanktons, which are the small floating plants present on a water surface which absorb all the sunlight. That's why light cannot penetrate at the deep levels of in water bodies. And light is also an important factor for green plants for their process of photosynthesis, and also important for many animals living in an aquatic medium. Next is pressure. Animals present at the sea level experience the pressure of 15 psi, which is pound per square inch, which is also called as 1 atm or 760 mm of mercury. At the increase of every 10 meters depth in water bodies increases the pressure by 1 atm. Organism present at the floor of sea at the depth of 10,500 meters experiences a hydrostatic pressure of 1 ton per square centimeter. And also the pressure of in water influences ionic dissociation, surface tension and solubility of compounds present in water. Next property of water is salinity. Salinity of water is due to the presence of salt of sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, chlorine, hydrogen carbonate, carbonate, sulfate, phosphates, etc. Salinity of marine water body remains constant, which is of 3.5%, whereas salinity of fresh water varies according to the condition of an environment. Some of the salt lake has a salinity of approx 25% to 30%, and this restricts the life in these salty lakes. Salinity of in water is one of the limiting factor in distribution of plants and animals in water bodies like spiders, crabs and mia. These animals tolerate a narrow range in the fluctuation of salinity, hence they are called as stenohaline animals. Whereas Mytilus and Aplysia tolerate a wide range of salinity, hence they are called as euryhaline animals. Whereas Angula and Salmon are both steno and euryhaline. Now let's discuss about the solubility of different gases in water bodies. Most of the gases are readily dissolved in water, and the concentration of gas dissolved in water ranges between 0 to theoretical value of maximum or saturation. Saturation is the concentration of gas dissolved in water when atmosphere and water are in equilibrium with each other. When atmosphere and water are in equilibrium with each other. Also, the saturation of gas in and water depends upon various factors like temperature, salinity of water, concentration of gas in atmosphere and solubility of gas. As the temperature and salinity of water body increases, this decreases the solubility of gas, and also if the concentration of particular gas in atmosphere is high, it leads to the increase in concentration of gas in water. And in the last lecture we study about the different behavior of the gases present in dry air, where we had discussed that CO2 is 200 times more soluble in water bodies as compared to oxygen. So let's discuss about the solubility of different gases in water. First, let's discuss the solubility of oxygen in water. Oxygen is one of the critical factor in water bodies due to its demand for the rate of respiration. Solubility of oxygen basically depends on temperature and salinity of water. As the temperature and salinity both increases, this results in an decrease in solubility of oxygen. And also the oxygen is not present in abundant in the atmosphere, hence it forms one of the critical factor for the distribution of animals in an aquatic bodies. Now nitrogen. Although the nitrogen is present in abundant amount in the dry air, it only accounts for 60% in water body because it is inert and it does not react with water, so it's not dissolved in water, so it only account for 60% in an water bodies. So some of the bacteria, fungi and blue-green algae use this amount of nitrogen to satisfy their nitrogen needs, whereas other bacteria produce nitrogen by the reduction of nitrates in a very low concentration. The solubility of carbon dioxide. Decomposition of organic matter and respiration produce carbon dioxide as a byproduct, and it is also a raw material for photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide reacts with water and form hydrogen carbonate, and this governs the pH of water body. This hydrogen carbonate further dissociate into H plus and carbonic acid, and on further dissociation it forms H plus and carbonate. Amount of free CO2 in water body is of utmost importance because of the precipitation of calcium as calcium carbonate. At the condition of high temperature and high salinity, free CO2 decreases, that is, all the carbon dioxide is fixed or precipitated as calcium carbonate, and this condition exists in tropical shallow waters like in Bahamas. Which have high amount of calcium carbonate in them, so the animals living here or the crustacean, spiders, planktons or algae living here has a thick calcareous shell due to the deposition of calcium carbonate, whereas in deep ocean bodies in which the temperature is low and also there is almost a no photosynthesis, so this leads to the increase in the concentration of free CO2. So the calcareous or mollusks living in the deep oceans have fragile calcareous shells due to the absence of calcium carbonate in them. Next is hydrogen sulfide. Some of the deep layers of oceans, seas and hill sanctuaries have a toxic gas, hydrogen sulfide, by and dead and decaying organic matter. It is highly toxic gas, and if the concentration of hydrogen sulfide increase in deep of the water bodies, leads to the eradication of all forms of life. Example, deeper stratas of Black Sea. This is all for today's lecture, and in the next lecture we will discuss about the interaction between hydrosphere and the biotic component of an biosphere. Till then, keep supporting by liking and sharing the videos of Zoolophyte, and don't forget to press the bell icon to receive the latest updates. Thank you.